Hi everyone, welcome to an exciting follow-up chat talking about the world of Phantom Hawk with Matthew Jasso. Matthew, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me back, man. Always a pleasure.
Anytime, anytime, absolutely. I guess the first question might be, what is new in the world of your creating? What are you currently focusing on in the world of Phantom Hawk and other such things?
Well, even though it seems like it should have happened a while back, due to some things in production going on, we finally now have issue one on the website. So it is officially up for sale. Um, so that's cool. It's nice to have physical copies. We did a con back in November and sold
Hmm.
some copies on site, but it's just kind of a little bit of a journey trying to get to the point where we could put it on the site. But it's up there now, and it's been cool. We've continued to write other issues. I mean, I think I told you last time, like I had written the first four before the first one was even done, art wise. So we
Hmm.
are rolling into issue two. Um,
Nice.
the line art and inks are just about done. I think there's two more pages left, and then we'll be rolling into promoting that one pretty soon.
Well, cool. The cycle continues. What's it like to see these books come to life and come to the page?
It's been interesting. I think this particular comic, Phantom Hawk, is probably the closest to something I've always wanted to do. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
the darker, grittier tone, something that's not superhero-ish is more, because he's kind of more like a soldier on a mission. So to have a little more fun with that, I'd still love to do more superhero-ish kind of stuff, but also like this has been a lot of fun. Good, cool action, um, playing with kind of the vigilante that's not really a vigilante. So this is the kind of book I want to do.
Yeah.
And to see, so I've done a lot of books that have like one issues come out or it's been part of a story and I wrote this part. So this is my first issue too.
Nice. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'll be nice to see, sales all hopefully happening that we can do all four of the issues. So
Yeah. What's it like to get to carry on a narrative that way? I imagine as a writer, I mean, as you said, you have all of these things that are kind of boiling up, and you've written multiple issues. So I imagine it's rewarding to get that second part of the chapter started as well.
it is because I mean, like, look, I've kind of talked about this with one of my writing buddies. Like, it's cool to write. I have fun writing. I enjoy it. But if no one's reading it, it's just kind of out there in the ether. And as much as I really would hope that people were like, oh, a comic book script, let me read it and I'll tell you what I think. Nobody wants to read a comic book script. Like they are boring reads. Let me read this paragraph about how the angle of the camera is supposed to be and what his facial expression is. Dialogue. Here's the next panel. Blah, blah, so in my
Mhm.
opinion, comic book scripts are some of the most difficult reads because that's what it is. You're just narrating and telling an artist what you want them to do. Like a movie script, it's a lot of dialogue and then like they fight and then a lot of dialogue or, you know, office, night, dark light, and then the scene happens. So it's a little easier as a reader to read a movie script and go like, no, I follow this. But comic scripts are just the worst. So to have it actually being produced and now somebody can actually read the comic. It's a completely different animal. Like the medium itself is a collaborative effort, and it's so much cooler to read a comic book as a comic than it is as a script.
Yes, yeah. Although sometimes very cool to like look back once you've seen the finished comic to
Yes.
see what those roots were. But yeah, I can see that the comic script to comic is a different process. And we talked on the last episode, the last time we talked, about kind of the iconic look of this character. Such an interesting design and very much kind of in that world of vigilante and other such things. So, how is that look kind of coming along? How is that world developing visually with the artist?
He's doing a really good job. Like it's each issue kind of as will introduce a new character. So issue two, there's a character named Killjoy that will be introduced, and it's kind of interesting because he's a character that existed in the original Phantom Hawk, that the guy who created Phantom Hawk, the owner of Apogee, Nick Garber, like
Hmm.
he did a like I think 7 issues of the comic back in the early 2000s. So there's some of these characters that I've kind of brought back in that he wanted me to bring back in. So issue two reintroduces Killjoy to Phantom Hawk. He's got an updated look, and then Bruno's art is spectacular. So he really is able to give this big guy with a hammer kind of a good movement. The fight scenes look really cool. So that's going to be exciting. And in the third issue, I think at the end of the third issue, there's another character that's introduced, and then we really see him rock and roll in the last issue, number four. So it's fun to expand everything. Um, there is another character, another original character. She's more of like the doctor tech and behind the scenes kind of thing, but she gets introduced in the second issue. So not a love interest though, not a love interest, just just a doctor. So it's been fun to do. You know, it's always I as a writer, as fun it is to do like a single issue or a little 12 pager here, an 8 pager there. Ultimately, it is really cool to kind of do like a 4 issue story arc where you see the complete story and everything happening and you're not confined to just one issue. So I'm really excited about seeing this come together and kind of, see what you guys think of how the story goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Earlier, you were mentioning kind of talking with writing friends. I was curious about like the writing community. Do you have a writing circle that you're actively part of? Is that part of the process, a venting corner or something like that?
Kind of. So there's one writer in particular. His name is Ray McKay. He's done a lot of
Yes.
different work for um Big Bang. He actually I couldn't talk about it last time, but he was working on it. Is he is about to do a he wrote it, the art, they just announced that the art was done. He wrote for Antarctic Press a Ninja High School Tintin team up. So
Cool.
because
Cool. Cool.
Tintin has gone public domain, people are kind of grabbing him and putting him. So he wrote this really cool version of Tintin, teaming him up with the characters from Ninja High School. And he's so we we always every time we finish a script, one of us will read it, give some notes, send it
Hmm.
back, and they'll do a rewrite. So he's also super excited about Phantom Hawk because he was reading them as I was doing them. So yeah, we kind of bounce back and forth. The other writer for Apogee, Renee, he and I kind of do things back and forth. And then um, I have a buddy. He's not really in the industry, but I'll toss things at him and he'll read them and kind of go like, "No, this is really cool." Yeah. Or what happened here? What does this mean? Like, oh, okay, I got to fix this. So there's a couple people here and there. I I wish the community was bigger. I
Yeah.
think I think that the trouble you have is there's two things. One, as freelance writers, you do have to be careful of what stuff you put out there. You know,
Hmm.
like I, like I've been working with Apogee for 2+ years now, so it's not as big of a deal. But when I first signed up, I had to sign an NDA because he did not want me sharing or letting people read stuff or telling people what I was doing because, some of it's kind of it's original characters, some of it was hush hush. There were things going on that we had to be careful with. So you also have to kind of be careful of that. And then, quite honestly, there are just some other writers out there that just don't get it. You know,
Yeah.
you were like, hey, let's create a community. And I've had several writers that just push back. Or what's worse is, um, like I'll read the script and then I'm like, here's some notes. And then they want to argue over the notes. It's
Right.
no, 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 no. I don't want to argue with you. This is what you could, you don't have to do it, but this is what you could do to make it better. And, it turns into this like battle of wills. And I'm like, why? Just go rewrite
Right.
it. It's like, what do you, I call them idiot reads, and it's probably a harsh term, but it's like sometimes what you need is somebody who has no idea about the development process.
Mm.
Read the script and they'll tell you it's not there. Because like as a writer, when I write an issue of like say of something like Phantom Hawk, like I know everything here. So when I'm writing
Mhm.
the script, everything is filled in. But then if I let you read it or Ray reads it, he knows nothing. Whatever's missing out of that script, he's going to be like, "Hey," and like sometimes like there was a buddy of mine read it, and he was like, "So I don't really understand like what powers does he have? You should have put that in there." I was like, "No, that it'll be an issue two. Like issue two, the whole first 6, 7 pages, it's his origin. Those will be answered. Not everything has to be answered, but
Mhm.
like what is a karambit? What is this? What is that? Like, okay, I've missed something. So that's where you get that whole idea of like, okay, yeah, okay. And again, if it's notes of I don't understand this, this doesn't make any sense. Why is this happening? More often than not, you have to go like, okay, I missed something. But I've also gotten some people who are like, well, I would write it like this. Okay, that's not,
Right.
don't change the plot of my movie script because you want me to write Roadhouse. This isn't Roadhouse.
Yeah.
So I've had that before where I let the actor read the script and then he sent me this like detailed, basically save the cat outline of how I should rewrite the story. And I was like, dude, that is a really good script for Roadhouse. I'm not making Roadhouse. We're not going to do that. Uh,
It's
you
been
know,
done.
it's that too. It's been done a
Yes.
lot. It's called Save the Cat. That's not what the script is.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm seeing, last time we talked about Nightwing, but I'm seeing Tom King back there as well. So I'm curious about writing inspirations. I'm curious about
Oh,
the
yes.
people that have inspired you that maybe not be part of the community necessarily. Maybe they're
Okay,
not, close compadres that way, but that have sort of marked you at the same
sure.
time.
So there is a writer. His name is, well, his pen name at the time in the 90s was Ben Sloan. In the 2000s, he came back into writing. His name actually was Stephen R. Cox, and he wrote a series in the early 90s called Horn. It was this sci-fi, dark, gritty cop kind of thing. And about a year and a half ago, I found the books again and reread them. And it had been 10, 15 years since I read them. And it was really surprising, like how much of his style is mine. Like how much
Mhm.
like it in, because I was a late teenager but it was when I really started writing of like the pace of certain things, the language some of the characters used. Like it was just one of those times I was like, oh wow. I hope he doesn't read any of my stuff. I stole a lot of things from him. I remember maybe 7, 8 years ago, I found some old scripts I wrote when I was a teenager. And I did this weird thing of the beginning of every chapter, I capitalized like the first 5 words or the first 4 words. And when I was reading that book, I was like, oh, he did that. That's where
Yeah.
that came from. He was a big influence. As far as comics are concerned, like I hate to say Alan Moore, but there are things about what Alan Moore
Oh
did
yeah.
early on that the hero's journey that he likes to put some of the heroes on. I think I've kind of played with some of that. I'm trying to think. R.A. Salvatore, he's a
Hmm.
writer.
Hmm.
He did like he's the one who created Drizzt Do'Urden. He did a lot of Forgotten Realms book. He wrote the Crimson Shadow or the Crimson Cloak. He's written a lot of stuff. There's something about the way he does action And I
Mm,
think there was a part of me that was like, oh, like, no, you can really do detailed action. And then there's another writer, um, Stephen Barnes is his name.
mm,
He wrote a series of books called the Gorgon series or Street Lethal series. I'm sorry, it was Street Lethal, the Gorgon Child or Gorgon Child, and then Sundancer. And it was another one of those like I read it like within the last 7 years and was like, oh yeah, that's why I named my one a character this because this guy has that last name and I thought it was the coolest last name, so I stole it. But those, I think Stephen Barnes and Ben Sloan probably really, for somebody who had just started writing about 15, 16, reading those books, it really kind of like this is the pace of an action movie. This is the pace of how action should be and how characters can be. And I think those two guys, as far as that, really influenced me. Look, Chris Claremont, I liked a lot of
mm,
stuff he was doing, the longevity of like how long he was on X-Men, some of the other things he was doing. Um, Scott Snyder, what he's doing with Absolute Batman. Like I was a kind of a fan of his before, but what he's doing with Absolute Batman is insane. And I've really enjoyed that. But yeah, I think those are some of my big influences as far as writing is concerned. Tom King, all I learned from Tom King is like, hey man, trim some stuff out. It doesn't have to be 12 issues.
this is true. This is
As
true.
much as I love um, Mr. Miracle,
Hmm.
I didn't particularly care for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I don't think I finished Human Target. His run on Batman got to the point where I was like, bro, let's wrap it up, man. So there's some times where I'll be writing something and I'm like, nope, this is too long. And especially at this level where we don't have the luxury of an issue every month,
Hmm.
So if you do an issue, a series or a story arc that's beyond 4 issues, it could be 2 or 3 years before they all come out. So I can't do an 18 issue storyline of Phantom Hawk, King of Gotham or King of Crestview. And it takes that long because like that would be 10 years at the pace that these books come out. So, but no, those guys really did influence the way I write a lot of stuff and the way I develop characters.
It's nice. Getting to unfold the arc like this with 4 issues, what are you looking forward to in the world of Phantom Hawk?
I have two other stories I really want to tell about him, that'll happen after this. So I'm really looking forward to that. The big difference with Phantom Hawk as opposed to a lot of superheroes is that the city that this or this first story arc takes place in, it's not his city. Like
Hmm.
the first page of the first book is like, I don't care about this place. I'm here to do a thing. So once this thing is over, at the end of the story arc, he leaves the city and he goes somewhere else to continue his mission. So I think in the third story arc, what I really want to do is play with what that means. What you know, are you are you doing good? Do imitators want to do good because you seem to be doing good and then you left and it just left this gap? So I want to kind of play with that idea of like just because you don't think you're a hero or does it mean you're not to somebody? And kind of delve into the responsibility, maybe not the right word, but like, what have you done? You showed up, you did these things, and even though you didn't mean to fight crime, that the side effect of you being on this mission is that people thought you were this crime fighter. Like, what does that do to that city? What does it do to the people? So the third story arc is going to kind of play with that concept of um, oh, cool. Yeah, you're right. You left. Yeah, well, okay. What do we do now?
Yeah.
I thought about doing that as the second issue, second story, but I was like, no, it needs to breathe. You really need to kind of get the idea that he's been gone for a while for that to make more sense. But that is something I've been looking forward to with him. And then, once you get into that stuff, now we start crossovering because people are all over the place. So I think that'll be a lot of fun too, because like right now, I haven't written any characters crossing over yet. Like Quickwire is a self-contained four-issue story. Phantom Hawk is a self-contained four-issue story. I've written a couple other things that hopefully will eventually come out, but they've all been self-contained. So
Mhm.
it'll be fun to start doing the like, what does it look like when Phantom Hawk and Quickwire meet? Quickwire's this crazy, more comedic, loving being a superhero, and then you got this guy who's about the mission. Like they're not probably going to be buddies.
Yeah. Yeah. That might answer my next question to some degree, which was where do you want to challenge yourself next, or where do you want to kind of work next in your writing? So it sounds like crossovers are part of that.
Part of that too. I think I know I wanted to wait a little while longer before I did this, but I'm starting to really get the itch to do my own thing.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I was kind of talk about old stuff is so there's a character I created when I was a kid, and every like 5 or 8 years I've kind of what I call rebooted him. Like, okay, well, when I was 15, 16 and I created this character, he was 15, 16 because that's what I knew. He was, kind of like the pseudo Batman character, crime fighter. And then, then you turn like 18, 19, and you're like, man, a 15-year-old can't do anything. He should be 18 or 19. And then you kind of redo like, okay, like when I was 14, 15, this was a cool comic book thing. Comic books have changed now. I'm much more mature now. It should be more like this. So then I like rewrote a bunch of issues. And I've just kind of kept doing that. When I was in my late 20s, I had this moment of like it was kind of funny because it was like, this is probably like 99, 2000 comic book
Hmm.
movies start coming out. And the whole idea
Oh,
of like, man, maybe superheroes and costumes are done. So then I kind of rebooted him and made him more of like he just hangs out in normal clothes because he's trying to blend and do this thing he's doing and really updated his origin. And then, of course, I aged him up because I was like, at that point, I'm almost 30 and I'm like, man, no 17-year-old knows what they're doing. They wouldn't fight crime. They don't
right.
care. So then I aged him up, gave him a military background, did some different things. And then even in my early 30s, I rebooted it again and was like, you know what? Why, if he did this, would he not have a costume? What would that costume look like? So then I designed this costume. And then about like 5 years ago, so my late 40s, I kind of looked at it all again and was like, you know what? No, I think we need to lean more into the sci-fi and really get into that sci-fi angle. But I had lost the computer I had that had the files crashed. And I could
Oh,
never find the scripts. And maybe 5 months ago, 6 months ago, I was going through boxes and trying to like condense things on my closet and clean it out and found this folder. I was like, what is this? And I open it up and pull out the scripts. And I was like, what? So I
oh,
had printed
nice.
them. I had printed copies, but I didn't have them digital. So the first thing I did is I took it to my office and I scanned them, got them into Word documents. And I am now, for the seventh time, about to rewrite the scripts. Um, it was interesting because like I wrote the versions of scripts I have, even though I've rebooted, revisualized it or imagined it, I've never rewritten the scripts. So the
Hmm.
scripts I
Yeah.
have are from like 2001, 2002, which was long before I'd ever really, really got into the industry. So it was funny to read some of these things and go like, oh yeah, no, I had no idea because it was like page one has 7 panels, page two has 9, page three has 8. And I'm like, no, any artist I give this to is gonna kill me. But also like some things I had forgotten I had done. Like I remembered aspects of the script, but it's been probably over 20 years since I wrote them.
Mhm.
and kind of going like there was something there. They're good. Like I think the concepts sound and they're good, but there's also stuff of like, yeah, I don't I don't know if I should have him talking about getting girls drunk and sleeping with them. We're we're in a world where that's not cool now, so maybe change some of that. But I think that's my next thing is I think I've played with the idea of doing my own thing. Um, I think I'm I think I'm probably ready. Before Nick got me to do Phantom Hawk, I was actively developing this series. And the artist who's on Phantom Hawk, he was actually working with me on that project. We were beginning to design things and realize things. And then when Phantom Hawk came about, and Nick was like, well, we need to find an artist. I was like, there's this guy I'm working with. He's a really good artist. Why don't we just pull him for that? Because it started getting to that point. It was like, I don't know if I'm ready to do this. So he is the artist on Phantom Hawk. So um, we'll see where I take it. But I think that's my next venture. It's time. I really like to do my own thing, and kind of play with that again because it's what
Yeah.
got me in the comics years ago. Like about 8 years ago, I tried to do my own book. It didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, and I think I got 2 issues done enough to show people, and it was fine. But I just kind of was like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the next thing. I think I would really like to do my own thing and just kind of like, as a freelance writer, and I am technically the editor in chief at Apogee now. So all the writers, all the things I help get them to where they need to be, give them notes. So that's really kind of it's creatively fun to kind of steer the ship of this big company and go like, well, these go here and this goes here. Let's do this. I can't announce it yet, but there's a project that has kind of been a little bit in development limbo for them because let's do it this way, let's do it this way. And I finally had to do that thing where I was like, okay, give me a week, let me play with it, come up with something completely new, and I'll pitch it to you. And if you like it, let's roll with that. So he's like, all right, go do it. Like, it's not going to cost him any money or time if I just go kind of come up with something. So I kind of took the entire concept back to formula and went like, okay, let's do this, and created this new version of it. And then Nick read it, was like, put these two things back in there. But yes, you're right. Let's do this.
Yes. Yes.
So
Um,
that is fun. But it's as fun as it's been. I think that's what I want to do. I want to be able to creatively do everything exactly the way I want to would be a lot of fun.
and this
Again,
is a story that has lived with you for some time. So absolutely.
yes. Yes, it would
Yeah.
be crazy after, let's see, I'm 52, so I was 13 or 14. Yeah, after over 40 years of going back and forth on this, it would be crazy to like, wow, somebody drew it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, may it be so, and please do keep me posted on all of the developments. If I'm a listener and I want to find out more, are there particular places online I should go to do that?
You can find me across all social media at the Hasso Man, my threads, my Twitter, my YouTube. Um, Hit me on those Instagram. All of that is under that name. If you really want to like kind of track me down, I do a weekly podcast called DC Junction with a K. I'm always on there. You're welcome to go and watch me and my buddy Mike talk about, you know, DC Comics and the movies and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can find me there, and then just go to apogeecomics.com. There's a Facebook group. You can follow all of our stuff there. Um, we're at the beginning of May when we're recording this. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but at the end of May, we will be doing a Kickstarter campaign for issue 2 of Phantom Hawk. So if you go follow the Apogee page, follow me, we will be putting up all the announcements about it.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, many thanks. Again, wishing you great success with all of the things and glad to have you back anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Did we miss anything that you want to make sure to include before we close out that I
No,
should edit
go
back in?
buy issue number one of Phantom Hawk on the website. It's $5 for a physical copy plus shipping, or 99 or $1 for the digital download. Same thing with Quickwire. Quickwire number one is up there. Go buy it. Physical copies 5, digital copies $1, and talk about it. Like that's the biggest thing. Any creatives, me, Ray, anybody, you ever buy their stuff, read it and then tell people about it. If you don't like it, keep that a secret. If you love it, tell everybody how much you love it, and it always helps indie comics grow. The more people are aware of them, and the more sales we get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, and may the conversation continue.